that I've liked about this the most from like a Chelsea standpoint, because I mean ultimately it is our goalkeeper, right? So uh, what I've liked is Hannah has kept quiet. She's not said anything. She's not addressed it at all. And I mean, if people have taken away her phone from her, I applaud them. Well done. Keep it locked. Don't let her near any electronic device for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Hello and welcome. You're watching All About the W, your weekly deep dive into the WSL stats, stories, and standard performances. Let's break it all down. I'm Ash, and as always, I'm joined by Kai. This is all about the match day, where we review all the fixtures from the WSL weekend. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. If you're a regular, don't forget to hit that like button and comment below. Okay, housekeeping out of the way. Before we do the match day, I kind of want to do all about the tea because a scandal is a brewing. Kai, you want to run us through this Mary Earps, Hannah Hampton, and I saw some Rusha statements as well. Like there's just madness happening. I kind of want to know everything. You, as a resident ex ex person, Twitter, whatever. Please tell us.
I mean, honestly, I can't. Honestly, I haven't been able to really keep up with it like blow for blow. But basically, key things that have happened is uh, Mary Earps has dug up stuff from the past where Hannah Hampton was dropped from the England squad post Euros. She has spoken about how it was impossible to work with her, and then how she was against Serena Wiegman bringing Hannah back into the squad.
Yeah.
She said that was a rewarding poor behavior or bad behavior. She came out and spoke. I think spoke has spoken about a little bit about how like her parents sort of struggled to deal with her sexuality. She's spoken about how she struggled during COVID with drinking and things like that. Lockdown, it was hard on everybody. So she's spoken a little bit about that. And I think the funny thing is, like, the individuals she's mentioned are basically Hannah Hampton and Serena Wiegman. And she basically said that she thought Serena Wiegman's decision to pick Hannah Hampton as England's number one was bullshit. And she said that it went against her morals and values, as I don't know what, some kind of morals and values, and therefore she quit. She left England or retired, whatever. Yeah.
You know what irks me about this whole situation? Okay, even if she's correct in the sense that Hannah might have, who knows, Hannah Hampton might have had like a behavior problem, whatever, or problem, quote unquote.
She
Hannah
definitely
Hampton,
did.
no, Hannah Hampton was 21 years old. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, there is, you're not talking about a fellow professional at like 30 or something. This is a 21-year-old. When kids come in and they're suddenly like put in this pedestal and they're like the future of England or whatever, I'm sure it's like people deal with it in weird ways, and I'm sure that Hannah Hampton may have like taken a little while to grow into that role and be as mature as Earps wants. But like, at no point through this whole thing have I heard Earp say, I have a conflict of interest in my opinion or a bias because I was competing for the same damn position.
Yeah. Can I just say it's so funny that to me she basically, when Serena, and we discussed this in the live as well, right? Serena consulted Mary Earps about bringing Hannah back into the squad, and Mary Earps said no. And I'm just like, what do you mean you said no? Like how? Like, do you not see the problem there? Like, I mean, obviously your opinion is extremely biased against Hannah because she's basically coming there to take your spot. And listen, anybody who's watched these two players play, you know what their strengths and weaknesses are. So, like, the fact that Hannah Hampton is extremely good with her feet, whereas Mary Earps is not, and there are little things like that. And for me, yes, the age factor, definitely Hannah had a problem because she was dropped from the Villa squad, she's dropped from the England squad. So and like the thing that I've liked about this the most from like a Chelsea standpoint, because I mean ultimately it is our goalkeeper, right? So uh, what I've liked is Hannah has kept quiet. She's not said anything. She's not addressed it at all. And I mean, if people have taken away her phone from her, I applaud them. Well done. Keep it locked. Don't let her near any electronic device for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
uh, you know this. I've seen like people tweet from their fridge and stuff
Oh
when
yeah, oh
they've
my
been
god, those are
grounded
that's
by their
really
parents.
creepy.
Yeah. So, but no, props to whoever or to Hannah herself, but
Yeah.
and also props to Sonia Bompasta, who's come out and said in the post match that it's what Mary Earps has done is really unfair to Hannah, and she said, there's been classy behavior and classless behavior in the last couple of days, and Hannah has been the classy one because she's obviously not said a bad word about Mary Earps, but also, like it's easy to not say anything. It's like for Hannah, the best thing she can do is just let her football do the talking and like
Yeah.
not engage at all,
Yeah.
because she is ultimately in a position of like English fans. She's a new darling,
Yeah.
right? After the Euro, so she
And
just has to just
rightly
be.
so, I think, because without Hannah Hampton, England would not have been in the finals at all, let alone, winning the finals. All of which she had a massive role to play. Just like there's not a single game in which she didn't rescue England. I can't think of a single game where she didn't make a massive save that rescued England, because England were they started off really badly in this tournament. Anyway, but apart from that also, I have a problem with these, like another conflict of interest apart from the position conflict of interest, I think, is the fact that Mary Earps is releasing her autobiography. So all of this is coming out as a way to publicize the autobiography, and I think that's really seedy. Like, it's so disingenuous to suddenly remember all this drama just before your autobiography releases.
Yeah,
Like, what the hell?
I mean, these are like excerpts from the
Yeah.
autobiography. So that's another. So, like, this is the part about this whole thing that's blown up that I simply cannot make sense of. Like, who in the world thought it was a good idea to release these particular excerpts?
Yeah.
You know, like, uh, I mean, like in all of the excerpts, like specific individuals who've been mentioned are just Serena Wiegman and Hannah Hampton, and how she disagreed with the two of them. And I don't know who thought it was a good idea, especially with the timing of it, because like we said, Hannah Hampton is a media darling.
Yeah.
She's just won every possible trophy a goalkeeper could win,
Yeah.
right? And
Except the
like,
Champions League.
oh, I meant like individual
Yeah.
goalkeeping awards. But yes, thank you for the reminder, Ash. Thank you so much. Uh, but point is, like, she's won so much, and you have like Mary Earps coming in, sort of trying to, it just leaves such a sour taste in your mouth,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
timing of it is shit. Like she's trying to achieve something, god knows what it is, and then she doubles, not doubles down, she actually backtracks and says, actually women are being pitted against women, and
You
last couple
are
of days have been a
like,
shit show.
I'm sorry, what is this third person nonsense? You are doing that, Take some personal responsibility.
Exactly. Where is the accountability, man? Like you pitted yourself against like Serena Wigman and Hannah Hampton. So like, I mean, I'm sorry, but the choice to release these particular excerpts, especially the one around her retirement from England as well as Hannah, is just it's just so bad. It's so bad, and like suddenly, like every 2 minutes, Mary Earps has an interview releasing. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I say, she's trying to do so much damage control.
Yeah.
It's hurting my brain. I can't keep track of things. And then she comes out and says, actually, like my intention was not to like take anybody down or character assassinate anybody. But then, I mean, that's exactly what you've done to a very young colleague,
Yeah.
or at least, Hannah's like, see, all of the fame and everything aside, uh, the reality is also that Hannah has spoken about that particular time in her life
Yeah.
and how she considered quitting football because that it took a toll on her mental health, and she's clearly put in a lot of work to come back. Like, you don't get selected by Emma Hayes, Serena Wiegman, and Sonia Bompastor consistently if you're pulling bullshit.
Yeah.
If you're not being cooperative, if you're being a nuisance, like especially Emma Hayes,
Yeah.
like she's going to
Yeah. Yeah. No, takes
like
no
bench
shit
you
from.
so hard,
Yeah.
your ass will be glued to the bench for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just so bad. And I mean, if I was Mary Earps, the first thing I'm going to do after all of this blows over is fire her entire PR team. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a shit show.
Yeah, or if there was a publishing house PR team that decided to do this, like bye bye publishing house. Also,
Yeah,
I find these, like halfway through life autobiography nonsenses. Like people should stop doing that. Like I'm
yeah, I
sorry.
agree. I
Anyway,
agree. I agree. Like, there is, I mean, I can't. So that's another thing, right? Like, when I think about timing of this, like I can think of so many ways in which all of these would play out. Like, Mary Earps has this legacy, right, or supposed legacy, like in terms of like the fight she took up against Nike, and
yeah,
like how she was the BBC Sports Personality of the Year, big awards, right? Big honors, and like when Hannah maybe like is no longer at the peak of her career, or if she's out of form at some point, maybe we'll see a side of her, I don't know, that maybe uh, Mary Earps might have the last lap. You never know what the future
yeah,
holds.
yeah.
But for me, like right now, after England have won the Euros, Hannah Hampton pretty much like the best player for England, and you decide to do this. It's just suicidal. It's stupid.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anyway, that ends our minor interlude all about the tea. Coming back to all about the match day. Game week 7 just happened, and we'll start with Brighton versus Man United, which ended 2-3. I didn't watch this game, but it looks to be quite close. Turlin scored in the 44th minute, Park scored in the 58th minute, Nalson scored in the 89th minute, Kirby scored in the 68th minute, and Seke scored in the 90 plus 2 minute in extra time. I In the predictions, I had said that I think that the way United play will be too much for Brighton, and that it'll be a tough game, but United will get through. Do you reckon that's what happened? I just saw the highlights, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah, you know what? This was like an enjoyable game of football,
Yeah,
really. uh, United were largely on top, and I
yeah,
feel like some we like in this game we saw something that we've not seen from Brighton in a little while, which is struggling with like the opposition press while playing out from the back.
yeah,
I feel like United did really well to sort of win the ball back in dangerous areas. But similarly, Brighton's press was also causing all sorts of problems for United as well. So for me, what let Brighton down was probably their defending,
yeah,
because when we did the preview for this game week, like I personally felt that with Michelle Ajimang being injured, their forward line is going to struggle a little bit.
yeah,
They're still going to figure out what their attack looks like. But I thought whenever they got a chance, Seke as well as Kirby and even Macy Simons, a bunch of players in that, in and around that forward area looked really bright. So for me, what let them down was their defending. Like, they had good moments individually,
yeah,
defensively. Like Minami had a couple of really good blocks. Kirby tracked all the way back to put in a wonderful challenge in the box.
yeah,
But honestly, the turnovers were costly, but also two goals absolutely preventable. Turland as well as Nalson,
yeah,
they were so switched off. Like Turland had two defenders near her, not doing anything, not
yeah,
putting in a challenge, not trying to prevent her from getting to that ball.
yeah,
Even for the like for Nalson as well, she made that late run into the box, and she was in acres of space to score that, and even the Park goal to some extent, right?
Yeah.
It all comes from like midfielders just not picking up their players. Like
Yeah.
you need to track back, and I felt like uh, Brighton did not do that very well. And like for me, right now, the way United are playing, what you really need to do is to just try and shut Jess Park down,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because she's absolutely on fire. Like she is really, it's so funny in the Chelsea game as well, and even in the Brighton game. Somehow Park finds herself with like acres of space to dribble the ball
Yeah.
and move the ball forward.
Yeah.
And I suspect that teams are going to start shutting that down,
Yeah.
which is not to say that like United can't be good from wide areas. They can be
Yeah.
very good. Like,
Yeah.
for example, we know how good Anna Sandberg can be. We know how good Jade Riviere can be in
Yeah. Yeah.
holding that
Yeah.
weight. But yeah, Jess Park, not the easiest person to mark. She's quick feet. She's a bit tricky,
Yeah.
but yeah, she was allowed so much space, and I think finally, Ash, like for nearly a year, we've been talking about United's midfield, and I feel like it's finally there.
Yeah.
Like seeing Ella Toon, because you have this really talented player in your midfield in Ella Toon, and Jess Park has just come. Jess Park as well as Zigiotti, they've both come and sort of elevated her a little bit, and they like as a trio they look good. Even when Hinata comes on, she looks good. So it's just been like, yeah, it's been nice to watch them sort of gel together and just play really well. But to be fair to Brighton as well, they are playing this game after Ajimang's injury. It's gonna take them some time to figure things out. I wish defensively they would stay a little more switched on, but
Yeah.
Camacho looked okay. And the
Yeah.
press also forced errors, especially from Leticia on two different occasions, which almost never happens these days.
Yeah.
Leticia is just so good on the ball, and even the Seke goals from comes from a Leticia error. But yeah,
Anyway, Villa versus Everton ended
yeah, I
3-3.
think, yeah, let's move on to
Yeah.
that, right? I guess probably, I mean, I predicted a draw, but I predicted a nil-nil draw for this
Yeah.
game, or a 1-1 draw.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I wouldn't say both teams have been struggling to score, but something has just not been clicking for both these teams.
Yeah.
Maybe Everton more so than Villa. But yeah, it finished 3-3. Georgia Mullet with a goal in the 45 plus 7th minute. For Villa, Hansen scored in the 59th minute, and a Ruby Mace own goal in the 74th minute. And for Everton, Gago scored in the 11th minute and in the 90th minute. And who else scored for uh, Everton?
Akita
I
Gawa
can't seem
scored
to
in the
remember.
70th minute.
Oh, yeah, Kitagawa scored in the 70th minute. Yeah. What did you make of this game? I thought it was really fun. I watched the highlights of this game.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
felt
yeah.
a bit sort of breathless, watching it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was a fun game. Like I'm not gonna lie. I did think Everton deserved the 3 points. I think finally, Sorensen has figured out his midfield. I think this like midfield three of like Hayashi, Vinola playing the 10, and like Ruby Mace. I think that makes a lot of sense. That it's working. It worked in this game at least. But more than that, I think it was a case of Sorensen bypassing the midfield, in the sense like it was a this game was an absolute tactical battle. Like it was two teams absolutely evenly matched, even on the benches. I reckon evenly matched in most ways, evenly matched, and it was down to the two managers. And I mean, to be fair, now the game only was evenly matched as a draw. But like so basically like or Sorensen had sort of designed the whole game to be on the wings, because I reckon he realized that Everton have a problem in the midfield. Or alternatively, Arroyo realized that Everton have a problem in the midfield and had set up to like go centrally, and so Everton were had
Yeah.
to move through the wings because that's where the spaces were. Irrespective, it was a wonderful tactical battle, and it was really nice to see. Like every time, like someone like Vignola got the ball, there would be like 4 Villa players around her. I'm not even kidding you, in the midfield. Like there was a one point in which I think Ruby Mace or someone had back. It was on the halfway line, back to goal, and receiving the ball, and there were like 4 Villa players around her. I'm not like, it was mad, but excellent job uh,
Hmm.
by Everton to, you know, keep the ball despite Villa breaking up play, and they did this because of like Pacheco and Gago. Gago and Pacheco were kind of playing in like a 4-4-2 with like Gago Pacheco on top, but coming through the wings using their speed, and Pacheco would just pass to Gago, and Gago would just like motor. It's like they put Energizer batteries on her. She was absolutely incredible. And like I have
Yeah. Yeah.
been saying for a while that we have not seen the best of Kelly Gago, and I think that the commentators in this game were absolutely, they're blind. Okay, just so I'll tell you what happened. So Villa scored an own goal, like basically a Ruby Mace. There was a very unfortunate own goal where like the ball's going to Ramsey, and then Ruby
Yeah.
Mace got in the middle, and there was just a little bit of a confusion, and the eventually I think the goal was credited to Salmon. I'm not sure, but like the ball went into the net, and so it was saying 3-2 to Villa. And so I think the commentators thought, oh, Villa is winning. Let's give the player of the match to a Villa person. And so they chose like Georgia Mullet. And after
Okay.
that happened, Gago scored again. But like, you should not be picking this player of the match by goal scorer. I'm sorry, or stats. You should be picking it after watching the game which is in front of you. And on that pitch, there was one player who was the best
Yeah.
player, and that was Kelly Gago. I'm sorry. Like, what is wrong with you commentators? You are blind. Anyway, but like, it was really sad also, because what was happening is, because Kelly Gago was your best player, they showed this touch map after 30 minutes of the game, and there were 2 spots on the right. And everything else was on the left. It was
Hmm.
spot. Like there were at least like some 50 spots on the left and like 2 spots on the right. Okay. And that's
Yeah.
because, you know, Kelly Gago would hand gift wrap the ball, give it to Tony Payne, and Tony Payne would just hit the side netting with it. And it's just so frustrating to watch, because here's a player who's doing so much work, who's like dribbling, getting
Yeah.
past 3 players, running and recovering the ball, like doing like a kicking it back, all of these things, like doing cutbacks, all, and like, so doing well in tight spaces, doing well with space in front of them, doing well at holding up the play, everything one person is doing, and the other person is just ruining it after getting the ball and doing nothing with it. And it was so frustrating because Tony Payne
Yeah.
is so fast, okay? And so, like, when Everton were on the counter, there were so many times in that first half where I was like, this is a goal. And then it would go to Tony Payne, I would be like, this is not a goal. It's just, it's such a shame. If Villa, I'm saying Villa.
Oh, Tony Benn is the JRK of Everton.
Yeah, like I swear, if Everton had an, even half like decent person on the other side, it would have been, it would have worked out a little bit differently. Like eventually, after like Momiki came on for Payne, I thought Everton actually looked much better. So maybe they should have done that to begin with. And the Kitagawa goal
Yeah.
also came after that only. That was also a great goal from distance. The Fernandez assist was also excellent.
Oh,
Well
it was a
done.
lovely finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
both.
that goal came in such a tight space, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I remember basically Villa defenders were all lined up, and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
a beautifully created
Yeah,
goal that
very
time.
beautifully created goal. But Everton had been knocking for a while. Like they tried two, three times. They were. I was surprised they
Hmm.
hadn't scored like two more because they had had a bunch of opportunities just before. And as they had not been able to. Kelly Gargo also missed one or two. But the thing about Kelly Gargo is, despite missing one or two, like because of all the work that she was doing, she was definitely like I don't begrudge her missing those one or two chances in the box. And it wasn't like clear cut chances, they were like half chances.
Absolutely.
And like a special shout out to Fernandez because there was that even for the first Gargo goal, there was this cutback that Fernandez like recovered the ball, ran with it, cut back, and gave it to Gargo, who put it in. I thought great job, Fernandez. Really, really well done. For Villa, I'd say Hansen had another really good game. Uh, 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 really, I wouldn't say really good, decent game. Was definitely troubling Ramsey once or twice. I think there was a collision also with Ramsey. So and Georgia Mullet had a really, really good game. So both the Villa forwards were pressing really well. In general, I think as a team, centrally, Villa was pressing really well. I think what they lost the battle because Villa had a back three, and so they were leaving a lot of space to run in from
Hmm.
behind for the wingers. And so I think tactically, I would
Yeah.
say Sorensen won that battle. If it had not been for the Ruby Mace own goal, I reckon Everton would have won that game as well. But absolutely fantastic game, worth going to watch the highlights.
Yeah. Yeah, I quite enjoyed this one for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. I mean,
Oh yeah. Sorry,
it's
another
interesting
thing
because I feel like,
I forgot to also say that Everton had some really bad luck as well. Like apart from the Ruby Mace own goal, there was also the Stenovic hamstring injury that happened. Like Villa equalized with the mullet equalization happened when Stenovic basically injured their hamstring and left the field for like treatment or whatever. And in that little like momentary time when like they were out of formation, Villa managed to equalize. So I did feel a little bit bad for Everton.
yeah, they also hit the bar a couple of
Yeah,
times,
yeah.
right?
Everton once they
I
once they
remember
hit the post.
Gago
Yeah.
missed.
So Gago passed it to somebody else. I don't
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
who, but
yeah.
that other person hit the post. I think. Who was it? I now I
Okay.
can't remember. It might have been one of the substitutions. It might have been Momiki. Momiki, I think. Okay, let's move on to Chelsea versus LCL, which ended 2-0. Carpenter scored in the 6th minute. Sam Kerr, another late goal for Sam Kerr, 90 plus 4. Sam Kerr, whether she's in form or not, will manage to find the goals.
Yeah.
Very nice to see her. Lovely fit. It was a really nice finish as well. How did you feel about this game, Kai?
We did the watch along for the first half, right? Like I thought the first half was quite exciting. Chelsea had a fast start. I mean, basically scored in the 6th minute, created some really good chances in the first, say, 20 minutes, I'd say. But after that, LCL had some really good moments in the first half.
Yeah.
I'm sure they feel really annoyed that they didn't capitalize on them because they did have, I think, Georo as well as um, Isabel Goodwin and even Freya Godfrey. Sorry, Freya Godfrey had a good moment, which she probably should have. There was a nice little, cut back from Goodwin, which she probably should have gotten at the end of. But yeah, in terms of like how Chelsea set up, like with a back three with Bronze as the left-sided centre back. I don't know. I have I have kind of stopped commenting on Chelsea's. I mean, whatever the starting 11
Yeah.
team selection, all of that. I can't. Germa's back in the lineup. Like she was on the bench, so
Yay.
definitely a good sign. I think for me, the Chelsea midfield looked disjointed a little bit, uh, and some of it I feel like is also because the LCL midfield was doing a really good job.
Yeah.
But I think it was individual um, moments that kind of let our midfield down. In that, I felt like Nuskin finally got a start because she's kind of fallen out of favor with Bumpasar a little bit, and she didn't make a case for herself. I don't think she had a good game. She's definitely a better player than what she did with that performance. Um, with Cuthbert, I thought she grew into the game really well. I felt like in the first half, I don't think she had a particularly good game, but then I thought she actually matched the physicality of the LCL players and then sort of grew into the game. With Kira Walsh, what happened was that she started well. She was tracking players well. She was winning a few tackles. She played some good through balls, all of that. But then she ended up disappearing in the game later on. So I feel like different midfielders peaked at different
Yeah.
times during the game, and that kind of threw the tempo off of the midfield completely. So it was a bit weird, but yeah, like I said, credit to uh, the LCL midfield as well. Georo was quite good. She was physical, won a lot of duels. She was tidy on the ball as well. Freya Godfrey, I thought, had a really good game. Had some really good moments. She's a young player, right, coming back from injury. So let's hope that there's a lot more to come from her as well. But in terms of players, I felt like the standouts for me from London City Lionesses were Sangare and Goodwin. I thought they were both excellent. Like Goodwin caused our backline so many problems, especially Natalie Bjorn.
Yeah.
I thought she kind of rolled Bjorn a couple of times and with considerable ease as well. And Goodwin is somebody who has a bit of pace. So because we were playing such a high line, um, I thought she could and should have gotten a goal there. But yeah, I thought the finishing touch was missing. But apart from that, she was quite good. And Sangare dealt with Aggie Weaver Jones extremely well. And she's playing like an absolute pro, man.
Yeah.
Like she's 19 years old. So
Yeah.
for a centre back, just how calm she is and how well she defended.
Yeah.
And there was this moment in the game early on where she kind of passed the ball. I think she was trying to pass it to Georo, but Cuthbert sort of nicked that ball off Georo, and I mean it was basically a misplaced pass from Sangare,
Yeah.
and she made like a goal line clearance, Sangare, or she blocked that shot from Cuthbert. So, and after that, having like a moment like that so early on in the game, like 3 minutes into the game, she didn't lose her head at all. I
Yeah.
thought after that, she was pretty flawless. Her performance was pretty flawless. Yeah, it was fine. It was a bit scrappy from time to time. But of course, I can't wrap up this section without shouting out Sam Kerr, like you said. A lovely finish from her. Honestly, can't think of many forwards in the league who can do what she did.
Yeah.
Just an absolute, just she's an out and out nine. The ball falls to her there. She is audacious enough to take that shot. I don't think there was a thought that crossed her mind about making a pass or anything of that sort.
Yeah.
She saw it and she took that shot. And I mean, that's something I feel like Chelsea has been missing, like somebody who's
Yeah.
just going to shoot.
Yeah.
And it's good to have her back.
Yeah, it's that instinct of a goal scorer, right? Like this is her second late goal, I think, in the season,
Yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
been a few minutes here and a few minutes there, and it's not like she's been amazing in those few minutes every time, but the fact is that she's the only person who has an eye for goal all the time. Like
Hmm.
her entire being seems to be centered around getting the ball in the back of the net, and I think that's just
Right.
I think Chelsea lacks any other player who's like that,
Hmm.
um,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely great.
Yeah. All right, Ash, let's move to Spurs versus Liverpool. Spurs holding on to their position on the table. It feels less and less like luck these as the weeks go by. But finishing 2-1, Koga scoring in the 19th minute, Beth England scoring in the 52nd minute, but the scoring was opened by Olsen, who's not Capox, who scored for Liverpool in the 11th minute.
Uh, okay, so I will say this for Spurs. You know, Spurs have played Brighton. Spurs have played Liverpool. Spurs have played. I now can't remember who they played in their first game. Um, I forget. Anyway, apart from like Chelsea and City, who Spurs are expected to lose to, I think Spurs have played West Ham. Spurs played Everton. Spurs have played West Ham. Spurs have defeated every single team
Yeah,
that should be considered the rest. So apart from the big ones like Chelsea and City,
yeah.
and maybe in the future Arsenal and United, maybe United, Spurs have literally been
Mhm.
not just competitive but have cleanly beaten people who are supposed to compete with them, like Liverpool and Brighton. So at this point, I feel like it's would I've been a little skeptical to like be like of Spurs' form, because I've been like, oh, they've been very close victories and things like that, and they at least they're competitive and they're organized and all of that. But I let's see what happens in the future. I feel like now it's time to get excited, because I feel like Spurs are definitely the best of the rest. Like, I feel like I can say that. Like, after you beat
Mhm.
Brighton and Liverpool, I and West Ham, I don't think that. I mean, fine, Everton. After you beat Brighton, Everton, and Liverpool, I don't think anyone can argue that possibly you're a contender for best of the rest. You know. So, and with this
Yeah.
form, I would like to see a cup run. I would definitely like to see a cup run. Let's see what happens with the cups.
Mm.
But I think that it's like I'm holding out hope, because the way we're defending with, and like the fact that we actually have a bench. Like, think about it. We did a triple substitution where we bought
Mhm.
on a player of the quality of I mean, I was surprised Tandberg didn't start, but we bought on a player of the quality of Tandberg. I mean, whatever you say about Martha Thomas not being able to score, Martha Thomas is still a quality player to bring off the bench. And Ash Neville. These are the three players we
Yeah.
bought off the bench. So, like,
But Ash, why do you think Tanberg didn't start? Like, I'm curious because, I mean, I don't think there's been necessarily a dip in form. Do you think it's an international break thing or a tactical thing,
I think it was a
wanting to
tactical
play
thing.
England in the nine?
I think it was a tactical thing, and not necessarily because of wanting to play England in the nine, but I think it was more of the case of wanting speed. And I felt like Holt and Nas did a really good job offering that on the counter, because I think that the expectation was that Liverpool would have a high line and more of the ball, which they did. Not more of the ball, but they definitely had a high line. And so I think the plan was to go on the counter. I think it was the same plan against Chelsea, but the difference was that Drew Spence was playing this game. And so, like, even when we were
Ah.
off the ball, I never had, like the commentators kept saying, I think just to make the game out of it, that oh, it's such a close battle, and both teams, like at the end of the first half, they were like, it was such a close battle, it's such a close match, and it feels like it's end to end. And it was like both teams had their opportunities, but at no point did I ever feel like Liverpool took control of that midfield. Like, it was
Hmm.
always Spurs. Like, Summerlin and Spence, I thought, really bossed that midfield, assisted, of course, in spurts by England, by Holt, by Nas. I think Nas was like a really good uh, outlet ball, but my god, Holt was absolutely spectacular in this game. I've been looking for a standout performance from her, and I don't know if this counts as a standout performance, but definitely, like, all of the energy and all of the movement seemed to be coming from Holt. And I think that was really great to watch. um, I thought um, I thought props to Koga as well. Like, Hunt and Koga, we have finally discovered a centre back pairing that works for Spurs, and it's
Mm.
really nice to see Hunt and Koga. I think have the highest number of clean sheets in the league as a centre back pairing, or something of
Ah,
that sort.
very cool.
I think that's the stat. Yeah, high
I
the
never thought I would see that against like Claire Hunt's name. I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie.
and especially after that scoreline against ManCity.
Yeah. And also, like, I mean, I feel like this is kind of like, Claire Hunt had such a terrible season last season, and
Yeah.
like you can almost feel like how Rob kind of was did hang her out to dry a little bit.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And now under a different manager, she's performing really well, and that's
Yeah.
that's very
Yeah.
exciting and positive.
Yeah, it is. It is positive. One other thing I will say is I think adding to that speed was the selection of Rybrig over Neville, and I thought that the substitutions were done really well. Where like once we were 2-1 up, and you needed to sort of like solidify it defensively a little bit, especially because Liverpool was also going to make some like speedy substitutions. I mean, not that they have much, but whatever they do have, I think it was really good to bring on Neville, and she did cut off an attack. I think it was from I forget. I think Capox. Somebody came in and then Neville just cut her off and then just like sent the ball running that way, and it was almost going to be a goal. So definitely like having that defensive solidity at the end of the game was required. But at the start of the game, it takes away from the energy of the mid of like the ball progression in general, because Neville is just slightly slower than the rest of the team. So as a unit, if
Mhm.
you want to progress, it becomes really hard to do that with Neville around. I love Ash Neville. Like, I will never say anything bad about Ash Neville. Ash Neville can choose when and if she wants to retire, when she wants to play for Spurs, when she doesn't want to play for Spurs. In my head, she can do no wrong. But like, because
What if
she
she writes an autobiography tomorrow, Ash?
we cross that bridge when we come to it, because till now Ash never can do no wrong, and she would never do that. Like, that's the thing. No, I know the kind of player she is. She's a consummate professional, uh, like Neville runs through every blade of grass in every game she plays in. I just love her
Yeah.
to bits. But like,
But Ash, just a second. I mean, I don't know if you're going to talk about Liverpool,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. Sorry, I was coming to
you will.
Liverpool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just want to ask about the Enderby injury, and also just like what do they need to do? Like what can they do to get points on the board?
Yeah, I think the Enderby injury, it was kind of unfortunate, because I think Enderby was the only person who was looking like she had any sort of like motion. Like, she was the only person making any sort of movement, etc. I'm not quite sure what the injury was. At first, I thought she was holding her head and it looked like a concussion or something, but it wasn't. And then it was like somebody said hamstring. So I have no clue what is happening. Like,
Oh, I thought it was a neck thing.
yeah, like she was holding her head like this.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
she was holding it like this. Maybe it was neck. I don't know, but
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
were doing the concussion protocol on her, and so that's
Hmm.
what I thought. But then later on, they were like, "Oh, she's hobbling," and I'm like, "So wait, is it the head? Is it not the head? I don't know what was happening." Anyway,
Yeah.
but and the loss of Enderby, I think, is a big problem for Liverpool, especially because they've been struggling so much going forward. And Liverpool really need forwards, like seriously need forwards. I mean, credit to Olsen, but that goal was offside. I'm sorry, you know. So I mean, whatever. A goal is a goal. It was given, good for her.
Mhm.
And like the commentator tried to say, like Rybrink was playing her onside balls. Nobody was playing her onside. Olsen was definitely
Yeah.
offside. But anyway, Fisk, I would like to call out for being the best player for Liverpool. Everything good in Liverpool, attack wise, defense wise, everything was coming from Fisk. I thought Fisk was far and away the best player for Liverpool. I think Sam Kerr needs to be dropped for a game or two, because Sam
Mhm.
Kerr has just been was terrible in this game. The like Of the three Liverpool midfielders, Sam Kerr was possibly the worst. And like Spence was running like rings around Sam Kerr, and
Hmm.
it that should not be the case. So definitely might want to consider dropping Sam Kerr for the next game. But yeah, like credit to Fisk, great job. Credit to Olsen, great offside goal.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the Liverpool bench to see who they could have possibly. Like, I mean, their bench is also looking a bit thin, isn't it? Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
like they literally like they have two keepers on that bench. So you remove that from the equation, and then it's
yeah,
just like I don't know. Maybe they can play like they brought in Kirsty McLean.
yeah,
uh, it's so stark. Why did they not buy more? I just don't understand what they were doing. They're just spending all their money
yeah.
on Taylor. What is the point of a manager when he doesn't have players to play with?
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. For some teams, I think the January window is going to be very crucial, and Liverpool are definitely one of those teams for sure.
Yeah, anyway, moving on. Sorry, I went on for a while. City
No,
versus
no,
West Ham ended 1-0. Fujino scored in the 26th minute. Easy peasy, job done. Kai?
I think so. I think uh, this was, Man City could have definitely scored more goals, which
Yeah,
is not to say that West Ham were very poor. Like
yeah,
we've seen like worse performances from them this season
yeah,
against, opponents that are not at the stature of Man City,
yeah,
or the squads that are not as stacked as Man City. Um, so that might be a positive that they can maybe take away. But I think the big news from the game was Greenwood did not start. She was not on the bench either. It looks like she's picked up an injury. I think she posted on Instagram saying that she'll be back soon. So we don't really. I didn't catch Eglert's press conference. I don't know what the nature of the injury is, but that meant that Jade Rose and Gracie Pryor was the centre back pairing.
yeah,
Rose usually plays on the right-sided centre back role, right? So she swapped to the left, and Pryor came in at the right, on the right, and maybe I was looking at the pairing, and that's a very young centre
yeah.
back
That's what
pairing.
I was thinking in my head. I was like, that is a very young pairing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So maybe Nak, she is on the bench. She was named on the bench. So maybe if she's fit and if Yeglerts thinks she's the right person to start, it might help. But um, Greenwood not being there meant that Kasparai got the armband, which
Yeah,
is really nice.
yeah,
We love Kasparai on this channel,
yes,
so that was really nice, and maybe something the fans can be really happy about. I feel like the defensive shakiness is something you could have predicted. I would have predicted it if I knew Greenwood was not starting, um, and it did happen. There were a couple of loose passes, some miscommunication, but which also meant that West Ham had a couple of big chances. Martinez, oh, she should have scored there, man. As well as Rico Yuki also had a really good chance, which maybe she should have converted. But yeah, they really need to start putting those away. I think you know um, there is quality there in Rico Yueki, in Shakira Martinez, Asei. Like these are players we know can score, but something is simply not clicking. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I just thought it was a very controlled performance from Man City. These games after international break are always a bit tough. So uh, I thought all those things considered, this 1-0 win, it works. Like Bunny Shaw should have scored a couple of goals.
yeah.
Also
Just
felt like
because
Shaw.
you know what, England scored after I sell her, and Shaw does not score after I buy her. I'm telling you, it's me.
I think Bunny Shaw's not scored in like 3 weeks now, if I
No,
remember
no,
correctly. So
she has.
or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Last couple of weeks she's not scored. So because she's my captain and she's given me 4 points the last
Oh,
2 weeks. So
bummer. It.
yeah, but I don't know if that's necessarily a cause for concern because I see Bunny Shaw, like I see Sam Kerr,
Yeah.
just an instinctive goal scorer. Like
Yeah.
um, you don't need much. You're hobbling on one leg and you still score. So
Yeah.
maybe it's just a couple of games and she'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I think City can sort of take away positives from the fact that they created a whole lot of chances
Yeah.
and
And good to
their
see
midfield.
like Fujino get on the score sheet.
Yeah,
Uh,
again, yeah, I think she's had a few goal contributions
yeah.
now, which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Greenwood has a knee injury. I just checked.
Oh, she does? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That is, oh, that is not, will be back soon then, I guess. Uh, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Hopefully, she progresses quickly. But, from like a West Ham perspective, I think they need to get something from the next game. They're going to host Leicester. And I think they will see that as a game where they have to, like, absolutely have to get a point on the board. Okay, Ash, let's move on to the final fixture. Leicester City versus Arsenal, finishing 4-1 to Arsenal. We're back to talking about Arsenal at the very end on this channel. 4-1 to Arsenal. Russo opened the scoring in the 7th minute. There was a Keys own goal in the 32nd minute. Blackstenius had a brace in the 36th and the 85th minute, and between those two, Blackstenius goal, Mouchon scored for Leicester in the 84th minute. Ash, what did you think about this game?
Okay, so I this game, I'll be honest, has is a little bit of a blur because I saw it yesterday in the morning. Because they were like both the games that I was going to talk about were playing at the same time as Spurs game. So I'd been watching the Spurs games, and so I had to watch two games after, and like. Basically, it's a little bit of a blur. I'll be honest, but from what I remember, I owe Arsenal an apology. Okay, it went before in our prediction video. I had said, "Oh, Arsenal are going to struggle. Leicester will sit back. Arsenal
Oh,
have."
I predicted 4-1, by the way.
Oh, I
I
hate
actually
you.
predicted a 4-1
I
scoreline.
hate you. I was like, oh, it'll be difficult, tough conditions, away. Leicester will be packing the box and everything. None of that happened. Leicester were terrible, terrible. It was a rare Blackstenius start, which was good to see. I think Blackstenius did cause, it's that combination of Fox, Ford, and Blackstenius that was really causing a lot of trouble, I thought, to Leicester. And you add Russo to that mix in the end. At the end of that combination, it's always like recipe for trouble, especially if,
Danger.
yeah, recipe for danger if you're the opposition.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
like after a 4-1 victory, I don't feel like being critical of Arsenal, but I will be because I'm a Spurs fan. um, but because Mouchon, credit to Mouchon, back after an injury, doing really well. It's great to see a player coming back from injury, fully fit, and it at a time when their team really needs them. Great job in the second half from Mouchon, but Van Domselaar against Mouchon. I have to say, we have been talking about the fact that Van Domselaar has been struggling a little bit in front of goal, especially with like getting the ball out. And this game, I really noticed it. I really noticed it in this game because a couple of the Leicester players were like uh, pressing, like a couple of Leicester players were pressing Van Domselaar, and once or twice Leicester almost scored just from pressing them, and like there was like a little bit of a fumble, and like while Van Domselaar is going to like kick the ball out, a Leicester player, almost, I think it was Musha only, managed to like pick her pocket, you know. So something like that is, for an Arsenal goalkeeper to do, is like really not okay. So yeah, I do think that Van Domselaar needs to like think about that. I'll also say, Kudina had a start in this game. Arsenal really need to buy a centre back, because like this chopping and changing in the back line, it's not really working for them. Like, I think that fullbacks are fine. I think Taylor Hines is great. Um, but Fox is always great. Like, Fox, never a complaint.
Yeah.
Uh,
But can I ask you something? Like, you know, when you look at the center backs, they have Kadina. Who is, honestly, I can't even remember the last time I saw Kadina play for Arsenal.
yeah,
And struggling with injury, etc., etc. But they also have Ruben Moy. They also
yeah,
have KP Reed.
yeah,
So, um, they have Catley, who's I mean, who's a makeshift centre back, but who's
Yeah.
kind of managed to nail down that position.
Yeah.
And obviously, they have Williamson, who is going to come
Yeah.
back. So, do you think they need to buy centre back? Like when you say buy centre back, are you talking
I'm
about
saying
the January window or the summer?
I think it's a necessity now. I think they need January window. And I'll tell you why. I think that they have a lot of average center backs. They're not
Hmm.
bad, but they're not good either. And,
Yeah.
if they want to be third in the league or whatever, that's great. They'll be fine. They managed to do that. But, like, if they have larger ambitions than just third in the league, then they might want to think, because City is in form. United is in form. They may not even get that top three if they don't have a good defense. Like,
Yeah.
it's not an easy thing. Like, now there are four proper teams competing for that top three. I do think that United's fixing their midfield and having that great defense has changed things. A top three spot is no longer nailed down, and so
Yeah.
you need supremely good center backs. If you need a good defense, like a good defense wins leagues, and I think that age, like old age, makes sense in this situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate that Williamson is injured, but I would say send all these, like, Wubin, Moy, Kudina, all these people that, I'm not saying they're bad centre backs, but you seem to not have faith in them. So
Yeah.
send them to places where they will grow and they will improve and they will play. And
Yeah.
get someone in who is off the, like, spend big. Get a Naomi Gurma type player, get somebody big. And someone who's a stalwart, because you don't even know the form Williamson's coming back in.
Yeah.
Like, there's no guarantee that Williamson comes back and, like, is, like, good immediately. So
Absolutely.
you need a stall. You have nobody in that center back pairing who's a stalwart defender. You need that, so you get that.
Yeah.
Go, and it's not like you don't have the money to do it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment, I would say. I think if you ask an Arsenal fan, which my sister is, and we do talk about it a little bit, but I think since Raffaelli left, I don't think they've had that elite centre back that Raffaelli Leah Williamson pairing that they had a couple of seasons ago. I don't think they've hit those levels yet. Hit those levels since then. So she's like definitely a player who's missed massively by Arsenal fans. And yeah, I think there's this. I wouldn't be surprised if players, ideally, Wubbenmoy should leave, but she loves Arsenal too much to leave. I don't know what the deal is there.
Yeah.
Ideally,
It's a reverse
the
Chloe
thing is,
Kelly.
yeah, it's one of those things where I'm just like, she's gone. She goes to tournaments and she's on the bench. She's on the bench. So the thing is, it's a World Cup year coming up, right? 27. So like, if she's not going to start at Arsenal, she needs to move elsewhere so that she makes that England squad. So there are all these factors at play. Codina is, I don't know. Again, like a player, when I've seen her for Arsenal, I've not been impressed, but I've barely seen her. So, yeah, I think I actually agree with
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be fair here. They just won 4-1. So it seems really mean to be pulling them up for their defense. But, like, you could see that a better team than Leicester, uh, it could have been 3-4 instead of 4-1.
Hmm.
It was evident that there were times when there was some sloppy passing out from the back. There was not enough press resistance, not enough organization in the back line. So there
Yeah.
are clearly problems there, and Van Domsla's
But
lack of
Ash, don't
confidence.
worry. Like, they'll come good next week. Don't worry. Don't you worry.
Okay, that brings us to the end of all about the match day. If you want to comment on who you think Arsenal should get in as centre back, put it in the comments. Also, comment on all the Mary Earps drama, because we'd like to hear what you think about that as well. Um, Kai has some exciting news. Kai will be appearing in the Absolute Football podcast tomorrow. So keep your eye out for that as well, and go there and support Kai in all their endeavors. That brings us to the end of this show. Like, subscribe, comment, do all of those things, and we will see you in the next one. Bye bye.